How do you tell someone, because you are a local, your favorite restaurants and advice from Japanese to English? Let's talk about that today in our episode, The Best Restaurants in Fukuoka. Let's get started.
今日のエピソードでは Google 翻訳で日本語から英語へ翻訳を行った場合の翻訳の間違いを訂正していきます。これらは Google 翻訳を使用する日本人による実際のオンライン上の実例です。英語力を向上させるためにこれらの間違いをどのように修正するかをぜひ今日聞いてください。
Hey everyone, thanks for that introduction, Sora. This is the Social English Podcast, and I am so glad that you were able to stop what you're doing and dial in to listen to this podcast today. I really want to thank a lot of my listeners from around the world. Some of you Japanese learners that are learning English, Japanese students, Japanese people learning English in Japan. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Some of you that are listeners in Thailand, thank you for listening to the podcast. Some of you listeners in Europe, thank you for listening to the podcast. South America, Chile, thank you for listening to the podcast, as well as the United States of America. And there's listeners also in Canada. Thank you for listening to the podcast. I see your downloads every time I log in and get ready to make another episode, and it really makes me happy. So, today, what we're going to do is we are going to do another Google Translate episode. This episode is for beginners. If you are a beginner, please don't worry. This episode will be easy to understand. This podcast is in English for students of English that want to practice social English, learn what social English is, and how to have a conversation. What the conversation structure is, American English and culture, and this is all to help you understand English a little better every day, especially social English. All right, that's our job, to help you get better. So, let's get started. Today, we are going to look at a review of the best restaurants in Fukuoka. Have you ever went out to go eat and you are a local Japanese person and you know the most oishi, delicious, very tasty restaurants, but you want to tell a visitor to your city? You see a visitor to your city looking for a great food restaurant to eat at. So, this is what you do. You go to Google Translate, you put in Japanese, kanji, hiragana, katakana, and Google Translate gives you what you thought you wrote in English. The problem is that Google Translate changed the words and messed them up. So now they sound strange. And a lot of times, a native English speaker cannot understand the English from Google Translate. That's what these Google Translate episodes are about. There are over 20 Google Translate episodes. If you want to listen to some more, please go download them from your favorite podcast player. However, today we have 4 parts. In part 1, I will read exactly what Google Translate said in the wrong English. In part 2, I will say the correct English in a conversational, social English style. In part 3, I will give you any hints, any advice that I think is important so that you don't make these same mistakes. In part 4, I will say the corrected social English version in a fast, natural speed. This way, you, the student of English, the Japanese person learning, trying to get better at English, this way you can hear very clearly and try to get used to the normal speed of a native English speaker. Okay, so let's get started. Welcome to part 1. This is the wrong English from the Japanese learner. Number 1. It's a shop that I went to, but I would love to go there again when I go to Nishishin. The clerk's taste is good, and the first person will be safe with confidence. Our family from Kumamoto kindly treat us, and the atmosphere of the store and the staff are great. Net grilling is my father's job. Okay, so that was it. 4 wrong sentences. This is the incorrect English. Do you, my listeners, have any ideas? How would you fix this English? Okay, how about this? I will read the wrong English one more time, just the English only. Please listen carefully. This is the wrong Google Translate English. It's a shop that I went to, but I would love to go there again when I go to Nishijin. the clerk taste is good, and the first person will be safe with confidence. Our family from Kumamoto kindly treat us, and the atmosphere of the store and the staff are great. Net grilling is my father's job. Okay, so that was the wrong English. How about the right English? Right now, in part 2, let's dig in to this with social English. Here is the social English by sentence. This is the correct English. Please listen. Number 1, this restaurant is so good that the next time I go to Nishijin, I'll go there again. Number 2, the servers here have great recommendations, so don't worry. Number 3, even though we came all the way from Kumamoto, all of the staff were kind to us. The restaurant's atmosphere is great and the staff is amazing. Number 5, by the way, my dad's job is grilling the food. Okay, you as my listener, now, you maybe would make different changes, but you will see why I made those changes in part 3 coming up soon. But first, let's say the correct English one more time, just the English parts only. Please listen. This restaurant is so good that the next time I go to Nishijin, I'll go there again. The servers here have great recommendations, so don't worry. Even though we came all the way from Kumamoto, all of the staff were kind to us. The restaurant's atmosphere is great and the staff is amazing. By the way, my dad's job is grilling the food. Okay, now let's get into part 3. My hints for this specific dialogue. So these specific sentences, here are my hints. First hint, we almost always call places we eat at in English restaurants. If you eat there, it is almost always called a restaurant. The only time we don't is if shop is in the name of the restaurant. An example would be Paul's Taco Shop. Or if it was an outdoor only food shop, which we would call a stall, a food stall. So that's the way that we use English. If you go inside and eat, sit down, normally that is a restaurant. Okay, number 2, we don't use clerks, waiter, or waitress in modern social English. I want you to forget about waiter or waitress for English. Don't even ever use clerk for a restaurant or any place that you buy food from to eat. This is not correct at all in English. Okay? We use the word server, especially in North American English. Why? Because server is one word that can be used for all genders. So now, especially in the current LGBTQ plus world, currently 2022, we do not use that word. We don't engender people. We don't say a male is a waiter and a female is a waitress. So we don't use that. Okay, especially for you advanced learners. This will surprise you if you go out to eat with your friends. You will never hear them use the word waiter or waitress. Okay, 3. The third tip, we don't want to say net grilling. Please never use net grilling. Why? It is hard to understand. We native English speakers do not connect net and grilling together. When we use the word net, usually our image, what we think, when you use the word net, we think about the net used to catch fish, that net, or catch insects like a butterfly net, or a sports net, such as a basketball net. We don't ever think of metal as nets, okay? So instead, just use this phrase, grilling the food. That is enough. Okay, congratulations. You made it to part 4. The real, live, native speed or natural fast speed English. Okay, so in this section, please listen. I will say the whole complete passage in a natural social English way. This way you can hear what a native speaker sounds like with the correct English. Here we go. This restaurant is so good that the next time I go to Nishijin, I'll go there again. The servers here have great recommendations, so don't worry. Even though we came all the way from Kumamoto, all of the staff were kind to us. The restaurant's atmosphere is great and the staff is amazing. By the way, my dad's job is grilling the food. Here it is one more time. This restaurant is so good that the next time I go to Nishijin, I'll go there again. The servers here have great recommendations, so don't worry. Even though we came all the way from Kumamoto, All the staff were kind to us. The restaurant's atmosphere is great and the staff is amazing. By the way, my dad's job is grilling the food.
この章を気に入っていただけたら、5つ星のレビューをぜひお願いします。コメントは英語か日本語でお書きいただければ喜んで読ませていただきます。realsocialenglish.com にアクセスしてぜひ無料でダウンロードしてください。ほとんどの日本人の英語を勉強している人がやってしまいがちな7つの間違いとその正しい言い方。また、毎日英語を上達させるのに役立つ資料もたくさんあります。Apple Podcast、Google Podcast、Stitcher、そして今はパンドラでもポッドキャストを購読いただきます。支援者になっていただけませんか？私たちがこの章を作るための支援として5ドルの寄付をお願いできませんか？今後のエピソードで感謝の気持ちをお伝えします。また、そこでしか利用できない新しいコンテンツも入手できます。patreon.com/socialenglish からご参加ください。ソーシャルメディアで私たちのポッドキャストを友達にシェアしたり、Twitter、Facebook、Instagram のフォローをお願いします。
So, there you have it, everyone. That's it, guys. That's how we talk about the best restaurants in Fukuoka. Now, we will talk about some more shops, restaurants, and movie theaters and other things. We will talk about the best and the worst and how to give advice to your English-speaking friends. Okay, that's going to be all for today's episode. Do not forget to give us a 5-star review on your favorite platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music. Please give us a review, 5 stars, so we can make this show even better for you. That is what I want to do. I really enjoy teaching people new cool things with English. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next one. Peace and love.
今日は楽しい時間をありがとうございました。ぜひ私たちのウェブサイト realsocialenglish.com を訪問して日本語訳と役立つ情報を手に入れてください。また次回お会いしましょう。バイバイ。See you next time. Bye bye.